Right. We are live. Okay. It always catches me out because the buttons change every now and again. Like, because I wasn't able to go live or do any videos for several weeks, and when I finally got the thing working again, all the buttons have changed. So I've got to sort of go through different button pressing to get to be get to be live. Anyway, so we're live. Okay, we've got a few people watching. If you want to make yourself known, you get a quick shout. Oh dear. Oh, just some water. Right, finish that, and then I'm going to switch to the vodka. Right, it's a work week, so I'm not going to get totally. Well, I don't really sort of like get totally shit faced. But I'm going to do drink during the week sometimes, the old vodka, but I'm not going to be getting totally drunk. Okay, anybody want to say hello in the comments? I've got a few subjects that I want to chat about. Actually, there's my like it says should say in the description about a dangerous thing that I was asked to do today. But also, I could tell you the story of the job I did before I came to this place that I'm working now. Okay, who's this? White Van Man 999. Evening, long time no see. Yeah, well, I was here a couple of weeks ago. I was live a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it was several months. I think several months that the camera was out of action. Anyway, Basil Faulty, hello to you. Yeah, we got several people watching. Okay, well, I'll tell you what I'll do before I get see. I'll tell you what though, the places that I work at, the one I'm at right now is starting to be okay. Mr. Deegan, hello to you. But yeah, but so this one I had a few problems in the first few months. I started to work at this place at the moment, but it's getting better now that I'm being left alone to do my work. Andrew Smith, oh yeah, hello. Now I tell you what, because that's the thing. Sometimes it's the shits working on the being on an agency. Let me tell you. Now, anyway, so several months ago, before I worked here, I worked at a place. It was like what it was. It was like a little factory loading bay kind of thing. It kind of was a big thing. Anyway, we didn't manufacture the screens. Like the screens that shops have to separate you from the customer from coughing Chinese plague on them, and the bus drivers have those plastic screens. We didn't make those as such. We got them in by the pallet load, and we assembled them into frames, and so then they could be shoved onto a bus or a countertop. Okay, any news in the post office? Coolikin evening. Coolikin. Yeah, actually, I managed to get the stamps. It took about 4 months. But finally got the money for that. I got a couple of £50 notes on my fridge on a thing. Mystic Junie, hello to you. Yes, so we were doing that, and I'll tell you what, it weren't bad. The work was a bit monotonous. You had to get a rivet gun, punch through the holes, and you had to drill holes in the metal frames. And that wasn't bad. I mean, I can put up with some pretty shitty working conditions, let me tell you. But the trouble was, right, there was about 8 of us, I think. About 8 of us, right? And because literally a 2-minute walk down the road, the warehouse got so busy what they did, they hired a unit up the road, literally 2-minute walk. So there was 8 of us agency, pretty much no management. So we're all on our own. And out of the 8 of us, 6 were stoners. Okay. So, I mean, they didn't care who knew about it. I mean, like me, for example, I've admitted to that in the past. I mean, it's not a big thing, but 6 out of the 8 of us were stoners. And what they used to do was there was one young guy. He went into there was one time he went into the toilets in the little warehouse, and he decided to roll his marijuana joint. Apparently, going to smoke it later, right? So, but what happened was he went in the bogs, rolled his cigarette, put it in his pocket for later. And the trouble is, when he crushed up all the ganja, it started to, you could smell it a little bit. So, in a short while later, this African guy, he went in, immediately come in. He could smell the marijuana in there. Rather than shut his stupid fucking mouth, he went down to the manager and got the manager up. One of the bosses, and he went fucking mad, threatening to sack everybody. And if the person didn't fess up, then this was like a Friday. If somebody didn't fess up to rolling the joint in the bog, then everybody's going to have to do a drug test come Monday, which didn't affect me because I don't do that anymore. But he said, anybody found positive is going to get fired, which, like I say, would have been 6 out of the 8 of us. Anyway, so I mean, the young guy, he fessed up later on, hours later, about 3-4 hours later, he decided to own up to it. But yeah, I mean, that caused all kinds of problems because we were telling this guy, I told him, the guy that he ratted out told him, a few others told him, and say, look, mind your business. If there's something very dangerous going on, then great, go to the manager, and that's what they're there for. But what you do, I learned this 20 years ago. You walk in, wait a minute, somebody smoking marijuana, right? You leave, right? And then you use the other bog, right? You don't go to the manager, you just fucking leave. Let somebody else find the whatever else is going on in there. Anyway, so people are pointing this out to him, just, mind your fucking business. Why did you go to the management with this? And this guy, he's totally unapologetic, Apparently this is the kind of shit that flies where this guy comes from. So, so he sort of like threw, and the thing is, I was there, I was there about 2 or 3 weeks. The black guy, he had been there for a couple of months, along with everybody else, because I was the last one in. So this wasn't like somebody who he figured, I better do my civic duty and go in and inform the manager. He knew that by doing this, he was going to throw one of his colleagues that he'd known for 3 months under the bus. He knew this, and he did it anyway. The fucking bastard. Anyway. So yeah, he was totally unapologetic. And I'm thinking, on the one hand, is this the kind of place that I want to work at? You come in, you do a mundane, fucking monotonous job. You got to put up with Sambo here throwing every fucker under the bus because he just feels like it and he's too stupid to shut his mouth. Is this where I want to be? And so I sort of, I'm mulling this over about my options about leaving because I don't want to leave too quick. So I've only been there 2 weeks with this agency. So I stay there a little bit longer. And as time goes by, this same guy who, threw his colleague under the bus and was going to get potentially 6 out of the 8 of us canned, he's threatening people with violence. And there was a kid there. He worked there. He threatened him with some violence. I think he threatened somebody else. It was a fucking madhouse. So anyway, after about I don't know what it was. And that's the thing. Oh, that was the other one. How did that work? The management, the immediate manager, again, who works down at the other building, not with us, who's left to deal with it on her own. Our immediate manager and then the owner of the company both came into the loading bay, and everybody, and because everybody was pissed off at this. Everybody was pissed off at this black guy for ratting his guy out, and the threats of violence, and people are not getting on. And so they come up, and immediately the guy who owns the company, said, yeah, okay, we've been having some reports that, people are not getting along, and there's been threats and all this. It says, right, I tell you right now, it's going to stop or everybody's fired. Like this. What? And we're standing there thinking, well, whoa, we got a grievance here that we want to. And one guy up and left. And and what happened was, when he went, and our immediate supervisor, the one that said to everybody, right, okay, if nobody fesses up, we're going to have some drug tests. He said, there's been reports that, the thing is, I've been hearing reports that people have been using the word monkey and nigger and all this lot. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. The black guy, the only person who ever used the word nigger at that place 2 times, and one of them was directed at me, calling me a nigger, was the black guy. The black guy with a big mouth who threw his mate under the bus. And the manager saying, yeah, we've had reports of monkey and nigger being thrown around and all this. Well, that's going to stop because I'm not having any of that. And I'm thinking, good. Now this black guy is going to, he's had a talking to. And no, it turns out that the black guy has been blaming some white guy for saying all this stuff, and he gets a verbal arse kicking, So the white guy, whatever his name was, he gets a verbal arse kicking for what the black guy did, and that was one of the last straws. I was on the phone with the agency, and said, listen, there's threats to violence, and the white guy was on the same agency as me. So I said, you've had reports of the white guy saying nigger and monkey and all this kind of cape. No. The black guy's been saying it. He's blamed the white guy. The white guy had fuck all to do with it. So I had to, put that straight with the agency, because, that can affect, especially nowadays, you know what they're like. That can affect somebody's livelihood. But yeah, this guy, the person who was using that kind of talk, the black guy, he was quite prepared to, again, throw one of his colleagues under the bus by blaming him for it. So I figured, I can't be dealing with this, It's so I what I did, I gave in my notice. I was real, the thing is, I don't like to burn my bridges. So I went, I told the agency, today's Friday, I'll finish the shift because I'm well, I don't know what the word is, obliged, or I've committed myself to do the work. Okay, so I've come in, I've told them I'm going to do the work from this time to that time, from whatever it is, 8 till 5. So I've committed myself, so I will finish the day if it's agreeable with management. So later on, I spoke to the manager, and I asked him, I said, look, this is the reasons why. If it's okay with you, I'll finish the shift. I don't want to leave you in the shit by leaving hours early. So if you want, and he was happy with that. It wasn't like I was, going crazy and all this. Like I put it to him that I'm quite willing to finish the shift as I agreed to do. If you're okay with me, knowing that it's my last day. So anyway, so he was all right with that. So I left, and and then I met one of the guys at the bus stop a few weeks later. It turns out, because everybody was sort of thinking, everybody was chasing their agencies looking for other work. So I've got to get the fuck out of there. This place is doing me in. This is going to no good. A couple of weeks later, I've spoken to a guy at the bus stop. Just by chance, I met him. Yeah, they're all still there. So I guess they weren't totally aggrieved about it after all. They're all mouthing off about how rough it is. Anyway, and then I moved over to this other place, the place that I'm at now, and I'll tell you about that. That was wasn't such a picnic when I started there. Okay, Coolakin, nice one. I'll send mine off now, and hopefully I'll get mine exchanged. Oh, if you're talking about the stamps, yeah. What I did, I managed to get the address, posted them off. I made a little video of it. Trouble was about 4 months later, when I got the money, my camera wasn't working, so you know. But I got the little check. Well, not a check. It was like a sheet of paper with a barcode on it. You take it to the post office, they give you money. Joanna B is in the house. Hayden Sharkey. All right, Mark, he says. Hayden Sharkey. Alba Barlow. Yep, hello to you. Oh, Alb Barlow. Yeah, that's Alb. Bloody my eyes. Funky Spectrum. Hello, mate. I am here, and my mate is coming soon. Oh. All right, I'll put him onto the channel, and I'll give him a shout out. Basil Faulty, they like playing with vitamin. I think while people are talking to themselves. T29 ASMXI. No, Jesus. 3101. Hello to you. Miss Frankie J. Hello. Alba Barlow. Vodka and co-op brand Coca-Cola. Well, not Coca-Cola. Co-op brand cola. It's actually down to 60p now. It used to be 65. I've done if anybody wants, type in Mark's Remarks Drinks. I've done reviews on countless, lots of soft drinks from all over the co-op, farm, Asda, Sainsbury's, Tesco, all the cheapest brands. Miss Frankie, hello to you. Passage says hello from Vicky and Lawrence. Hello from Vicky and Lawrence. Love your videos. Oh, thank you very much. Okay. Miss Frankie says, miss seeing you live. Basil Faulty, Mark, did you check out Cyborg PA channel? Yeah, I think I did. It was a while back. I'm pretty certain I did. And I'm pretty certain it was something that I wasn't. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what it was, what the channel was like or about. But I'm fairly certain I did check it out. Dwayne Dibley, hello. Can I get a shout? It might be shout out to Squat Juice. Squat Juice, please. Hello there. All right. Anyway, so so I left that and came to this place. And when I joined this place, I'll tell you what, I joined. I don't know what it was. That was all kinds of problems. I got off at the wrong stop. I was supposed to be there like, I don't know what it was, say Monday or whatever. Got off at the wrong stop. Walked fucking half an hour up the road. I don't know what direction I was going because all the signs in Milton Keynes are shit. You need to navigate Milton Keynes. When you're driving down the road, you need to know how one estate connects to another in order to you can't just get on the road and say go from my place to Bletchley, which is about 6 miles or so. You can't just go straight to Bletchley. You have to know that down this road goes past Connyborough, goes past Downs Barn, goes past Springfield. These are housing estates. Goes to the city centre, goes to Fishermead, goes to Springfield, goes to you have to know. So you look out for these signs that take you to these, so there is no one sign that says Bletchley, because it's that far away. You have to know the 6 destinations, 6 places in between. Anyway, so that didn't help much because I'm walking half a mile up the road. It turns out I'm going half an hour in the bloody wrong direction, right? So anyway, so I find the prison. I think it's called Woodhill Prison in Milton Keynes. I'll tell you what, though, there's a sign outside there. You wouldn't believe how much did they getting? I think it was like 16,500 or something for a prison guard. They got a big poster outside. Man, that is, it's not bad money. I think it's 16,500. It was a whopping amount. Let me tell you. It might be more than that. Anyway, so yeah, so I got a cab, got to there. I was about an hour late on my first day, and the problems pretty much started from fairly from the minute I walked in. Well, from the day after. I get in there. I'm working with this one guy. We're assembling boxes of the printers, and we're taking them off one pallet, reassembling onto another pallet. That was all good, The trouble is, you've got several different people working there, all of them telling you different bloody way. Like, for example, we assemble get the boxes on a pallet. I asked them, how much do I need to shrink wrap this? Just bare minimum, just to stop it from falling off. Turns out you need to put a lot of shrink wrap on it because it's going up high in the racks. So I got my ass kicked there on the first fucking day because you've got different people telling you different bullshit information about the same job. Anyway, so I was there the next day. He left. He left the next day, so that was quick. A few weeks later, another guy left. He went to college, which left myself and the part-timer and a couple, basically one or two new guys. And it's what really frustrates me about because the thing is, when I'm teaching, I've mentioned this before. I've been given the job of teaching people in other jobs that I've been at. Even though I'm like, if I'm there 2 weeks, I get given the job for teaching a new guy, which is madness. But, I don't know whether it could be they have such faith in my ability or they just can't be bothered to do it themselves. But that happens a lot. Anyways, so when I'm training people, right, it's a bit like, I've said before, I try to assume that they don't know anything about warehousing or the job at hand. I try to explain it to them like I'm explaining it to a child. All right, that isn't to say that I'm saying that these people are thick or fucking stupid or dopey. It's just that when I'm teaching them, I'm teaching somebody, I explain it to them very simply, very to the point. As if you're talking to a child who doesn't know anything, and I usually find that works. The trouble here is what they do. Some of them got an accent, so that's hard to understand sometimes. But they'll use 35 words to describe an 8-word task. Okay, where I would use 8 words to describe: take these pallets, move them from there, and put them in a row in that racking over there. Right, take them from there, put them over there. They'll use 35 fucking words, and by the time you think, whoa, there's too much information coming in. There's too much bullshit fucking noise. You're using whole sentences you don't need to. Just give me the minimum amount of information I need. Do I need to move that over there from over there? But they'll flower it out. Like I say, honestly, 35 words when 8 will do, and it's just too much. You just give me the bare information. So, the whole lot of them were doing that. It's like there's some fucking trend they got going. So it was difficult to pick up because the thing is, when you're a new guy, you've got to pick up the job fairly quick because, you don't pick up the job, you're useless, they get rid of you, so you got to pick it up. And yeah, so I wasn't picking up the job fairly quickly because I was having trouble because I don't know if you've dealt with foreigners before. I have. You ask them a question and they say yes. You think, oh, great, okay, good, okay. So I'll do it. Turns out they don't even understand what you just said. They just said yes just to get you the fuck out of there. So now you've got a thing that you've done and it's completely wrong because they answered yes when they had no clue. You get a lot of that. You got to ask the same question 3 times because first of all you get a yes, then you think no because we're getting some stuff. What is it you need me to do? All right, so I'm not picking up the job very quickly because it's I'm being given tasks like I say, 35 words when 8 will do. A lot of stuff doesn't make sense. They when you're dealing with something and somebody comes in and gives you a task real quick with lack of information, and then they piss off and they expect you to be able to fix this thing. And you're like, what? No, I need more of it. A lot of that goes on. And then, of course, you're the asshole for not, Anyway, so, yeah, and because of that, because you're given lack of information, you've been given tasks, you're in the middle of something, so you focus on something, you get given a half-assed explanation about what something needs to be done to, and then you can't complete that job because you don't know what the fuck you're doing, makes you look like an idiot. Then I was getting spoken to like I was a fucking retard or something. I swear to Christ, a lot of the time, there's a the manager and there's a woman who works there. She was quite bad for a while, explaining how to use a tape gun. So, you take the tape gun, you put it over, or you take the pallet truck, you pump the hand. Oh God. It's because I think you're an idiot because you can't follow what they're saying because they're giving you gibberish. But now, honestly, because I've always considered myself, if once I learn the job, once I've got it in there, it stays there and I can be an asset to any company. But I need to be able to learn the job, There was one example. I did something wrong with stacking a pallet, and because I wasn't trained in the training how to do this particular task, his answer was, "Well, just look in the racks. Look, there's like 200 pallets up on the racking all the way around the place. Just look up there. Look how they've stacked them, and then follow that. That was his answer." Anyway, how are you going to deal with that, right? So, but once I've learned, it's starting to get better now. Now that they're able to sort of like give me a bit of paper with a job on it, and I'm able to go do it because now I know how to do it and what to do and how to deal with it. Whereas before, they would just they just wouldn't let you alone. They just every little detail they're on your back. Just sort of like don't do it this way, do it that way, fold it this way. Just anyway. The Roger Clark, any chance of saying happy birthday to my lass Emma Road? She's 60 today. Oh, hello, happy birthday to Emma, 60 today. All right. Actually, I'm missing a lot of the comments here, but people are writing to each other. Oh, Jess is in the house. Hello to you, Roger Clark. Passage. Craig Hymus, he's in there as well. Hello. Yeah, I'll tell you. Oh, all right. So now that part is good. Now they can just give me something. I can go do it, and I haven't got people fucking with me all the time and sort of like, oh yeah, take the tape, do it this way, fold it this way. Fuck off. Now, the thing that get into the dangerous issues, right? It goes back from the time that I started there. Now, when I was see, I've driven. I've counted them once. I think about 6 or 8 different warehouse vehicles, right, ranging from reach trucks to forklift trucks, electric and gas. I've driven cherry pickers, which is a platform which, well, you're in a cab. It takes and you imagine a what do you call that? Remember, like a concertina kind of thing. Anyway, your cab goes up, and you can drive, up to the ceiling, picking stuff from the shelves. All these stuff, as well as lollops and what they call lollops. That's LO, sort of abbreviation, and a whole bunch of them. And when I was on the YTS scheme, I took a forklift driving test, forklift test, to get a certificate. And the guy was a really good instructor, and he said, if you fuck around and you kill somebody, you are the one going to jail. The guy, the dead fucker, he's not going to jail. Or if you break his legs, he's not going to jail. You, as the driver, is going to jail. If you run somebody over, if you tip a load onto them, tip a pallet over, you turn the truck over, you are going to jail for manslaughter. And he said, and then the other thing he learned was, do not ever pick anybody up on the forks. Do not let them on the forks, and you lift them up so they can get something from the shelf. You don't let anybody walk under your. If you're getting a pallet up high. I've had people try to walk underneath the pallet. Think, oh, yeah, let me just stare there. No, fuck off. You wait. Get over there and you wait until my forks are down. That's what I tell them. But the golden rule is, do not ever put somebody on your forks. They actually have a cage in this warehouse specifically designed to put on the forks, and you climb in the cage, and then you get lifted up. You secure the cage to the forklift mast. But no, ever since I've been there, about, I don't know, what was it now? I don't know, 3-4 months. I've seen a whole bunch of people, and I've said to these people, if you fall off that fork, if you fall off them forks and you break a leg, break an arm, break your face, the company will throw you under the bus rather than take responsibility for what's just happened. You'll not get any compo. You'll get you'll be let go for starters, but they will not take responsibility. You'll be out in the cold, and nobody fucking listens. They're all doing it anyway. So so I've seen a whole bunch of people, right? Ranging. I mean, right? If you figure. I'm 5'10", right? So if you round it up to 6, okay. So you got 6 feet from floor to the top of my head, then arms outstretched, which is another 3 feet, right? So that's 9 feet. Because I did it today, actually. I had a cardboard box full of rubbish, and there was a guy in the bin, right? This big, huge bin. He was in there, so I had to stretch, and I had to stretch the thing to get the box over the top of the skip. So there's 9, a good 9 feet. That's how high somebody is lifted up to climb into the bin to flatten all the rubbish down. That's 9 feet. And in the warehouse, I've seen people who are lifted up over twice that height. They're holding onto they got the feet on the forks. They're holding onto the mast. They're lifted up. Okay, and they're checking a number of a rack that's. I mean, what? So you got 6, 12, 18, 20. So it could be 30 feet up in the air, Anyway, so, and I actually thought, okay, well, these other guys, they're all doing it. I've told them that it's not advantageous for them to be doing it. But fuck them, they're old enough, and the manager, he's got enough sense not to ask me to do it. Okay, because I figured, well, he's got that going for him, right? He's not, he's not dumb enough to be asking me to do some stupid shit. Okay, until today, that is, and the thing is, right? Then we had a meeting about 3 weeks ago. We're all in a group, and he's telling us, about things that are going wrong, and we all need to be following the same, because it is, when you got 6, you get half a dozen people all together in the same place, everybody's doing their own thing, but no, you got to follow the same page, all right? So anyway, we're doing that, and at the end of the meeting, he says, "Okay, anybody got any things they want to throw in, chat about?" And I said, "Yes." And I said, "I'm really not happy with the oh, hello, Lee Bartlett has donated £4.49. Thank you very much, Lee Bartlett. That's very generous of you. At yeah. No, I'll tell you, no, it's nice. People, if they appreciate what I'm doing, of course, if anybody wants to do that, they don't have to be that, as generous. But no, it's very appreciated. I'll give you another shout out, Lee Bartlett. And of course, you can help the channel, anybody, by just allowing the ads to play. That's another way of helping. But yeah, much appreciated, Lee Bartlett. Big round of applause for you. There you go. You get a golf clap. That's from a movie, actually. Men at Work, when the policeman's giving them shit and he give them the grab. Anyway, thank you very much, Lee Bartlett. He said, anybody want to throw in a comment or whatever grievance? And I said, yes. I'm not particularly over thrilled with the practice of people being lifted up on the forks to the high locations. And I says, the reason being is, okay, and I said, look, I appreciate they're all adults, they can do their own thing, but from my point of view, I will have to see and deal with the aftermath of if a guy comes flying off those forks, landing on the floor. Okay, that's something that I'm going to have to see and deal with. And I'm not particularly thrilled about being put in that position. He actually said to me, if you don't like it, all you have to do is move to the next rack. If you don't want to see people getting lifted up and down on the racks, go to the next rack where you don't have to see it. That was not the fucking answer that I was expecting, I've got to tell you. So I said, fine, fuck it. I've told you my piece. All right, listen, if that's the best I'm going to get out of you, then fuck you. Then, yeah, go to the next rack where you don't have to see this going on. It's like, who the anyway. So that was 3 weeks ago, and so jump forward to today, 3 weeks later, approximately 3 weeks later, today, and all this time, he's asking, because he also said to me, he says, it's only 2 people. I said, no, I've counted 6 people, not 6 occasions. 6 different individuals allow themselves to be raised up on those forks, going from 9 to 25, 30 feet up in the air. Even the manager that told me, go into the next rack if you don't want to see it. Even I've seen him on the forks, and he's supposed to be a fucking manager. You expect to be the the captain of the ship, the guy who you follow example. Anyway, so I figured, fuck them. All right, if they want to do that, then great. I've told them how bad it is if they come off. So he's not asked me, except till today. There's, because we had one guy left, he was cheesed off. Got a couple of guys, they got thrown out, or told to leave because they were, rocking the cart, I guess, or being useless. So there's only me. Well, you got one guy that comes in all day, 9 till 6. You've got a guy that comes in 9 till 1, and you got me who's doing 9 till 3, but I'm covering till about 5 to because they're short staffed and they can't fucking get people in. Nobody wants to stay there. Okay, so the guy who leaves at 1, he'd gone. All right, so that leaves the full timer and me. The full timer's on lunch. Then the manager comes to me and says, Mark, come over here, Mark. Come over here. And I'm like, okay, come over there. He's got there's the forklift. He says, "Yeah, listen, can you just pull the handle?" I said, "Are you about to ask me to lift you up on them fucking forks?" And he said, "Yeah, just pull the handle." No, and I told him, "No, no, no." He's going, "No, I didn't. No, just pull the." I said, "Fuck me." I you know, it's about 4 or 5 times I had to say the word, you know, to explain no, and you know, because the thing is, because I had to tell him, you know, I said, "Look, because you're putting me in a position where I am going to be doing something very dangerous, which I am really not comfortable doing." And, you know, because I mean, bearing it, because the thing is, he must have thought, because he must have, because he actually offered to do a disclaimer, you know, to whom it may concern, I absolve Mark from any respect. No, that's not going to fucking work in a court of law. He offered to do that, and that was, you know, so that you may as well wipe your ass on that for all the fucking worth it is. So, but yeah, he's you know, because I don't know, he was like asking me, just pull the. He didn't understand. He seemed to think that I was worried about. Well, I mean, partly I'm doing something which I'm sure is illegal. Well, you know, I don't know, you know, but it's definitely not the way I was trained. That's for fucking certain. Because I've driven a lot of these things, and I consider myself a fairly, you know, you know, you have the odd accident, you bump things. I've never hit anybody on the truck. I've never crashed my forks through the shutter doors. I've seen that. Well, I've seen the aftermath of that happen. I've never let anybody close to my truck where, because you know, where they get injured. Because I mean, I've told the story when I was 16, which this image is starting to flash back to me now. It's something that I mean, I never think of anymore. But 35 years ago, 35, 36 years ago, when I was sort of 16, I saw the aftermath of a kid getting his foot run over with a forklift. Right, they got his shoe. In hindsight, it probably wasn't a good idea to take his shoe off, but I mean, they already done it before I got there. They got a shoe and sock off, and there was a big, thick tire print across his foot where the thing had just driven over his foot. So I'm starting to have all these images and all the accidents that I've seen over the years. I've seen, you know, I've had things come down on the, you know, because when you're on a forklift, you have like a protective cage over your head. It protects you from pallets and big boxes. What it doesn't protect you is the things that are in the pallets or in the boxes. Yeah, I mean, if you have a pallet of, if you have a pallet come down on you, it'll protect you. All right, but if you have a pallet of glass, you know, glass jars full of gherkins, it's all going to come through. You know, so I mean, it's a dangerous freaking thing. So yeah, so he's thinking I'm concerned about, you know, will I get into trouble if I'll write a disclaimer and all this lot? But no, it's partly because I was trained not to do that, and partly because it's wrong and it's fucking dangerous. And two, if he falls, one, I'm the one going to jail. I'm going to court. I'm going to fucking plead my case, and I'm going to jail for being a dumb shit. And two, I'm going to have to live with the knowledge that my actions caused somebody's death. And three, I'm going to have to watch him fall the 30 feet, flat out, you know, mangled on the floor. That's an image that you don't sort of, you know, because like I say, I mean, I remember how it hit that kid getting his foot run over, and I remember I was like 2 minutes away from a guy who had a pallet full of stuff come down on him. Luckily, you know, but I remember these things because not that I ever think about them, but because of this incident where I'm having to bring up the fact that I will not do this dangerous thing over and over and over. I had to tell the guy 5 fucking times that I'm not doing it. And in the end, I said, listen, I'll go get one of those other 2 guys, all right? If they're stupid enough to fucking do it, well, one of them's already gone home and the other one's on lunch. So he had to go get the guy out of lunch, over to the truck, lift him up, do the thing, and then go back to lunch. I said, right, great, you know. So that's what happened today. And I asked the guy, the guy that actually came out on lunch for 5 minutes to do this job with the lifting them up on the forks. I asked him, I said, do you know why you were pulled out of lunch to go do this thing? And he said, well, I guessed that it's because you wouldn't do it. He says, yeah, I know you, he's like, he said to me, yeah, because I've explained to him before, we had a discussion when he first started. I said, listen, they're going to ask you to lift stuff up on the forks. And, he does it, but I will not. And he knew because he knew that I was in the warehouse. And he knew because he was getting pulled out at lunch to go do this stupid thing that it was because I refused to do it. And he kind of worked this out. And he said, and he said, yeah, he said, yeah, you don't take any shit, Mark, which I kind of, well, yes and no. I'll put up with a whole bunch of stuff, but I will not do something that is absolutely wrong like that. Because, I mean, the thing is, I've actually explained to all these guys on the quiet, I said, listen, you have every right to say no. I believe that lifting you on the forks is a dangerous thing, is against policy. It will get me in court. It will put me in jail if anything goes wrong. Because you imagine if a guy comes, if you're lifting up the guy 30 feet up in the air and he comes off, right? One, he's going to break, if he breaks his legs, you're going to jail, you're getting fired, you're getting sued, okay, from him for malpractice, or if he dies, exactly the same thing, only you're getting sued from his wife, kids, whatever, so either way you lose your house, right, because of, I don't know what they call that, not is it manslaughter or negligent homicide, the Americans call it, is where you cause somebody's death by acting like a dumb shit, like for example, you're driving down the road and you're fucking with a radio and you end up driving into a bus shelter, killing a few people. It wasn't intentional. It was just because you're a dumb shit, and it's called, like manslaughter, I think they call it. Either way, somebody dies because of my actions. I end up, you lose your house, you go to jail, and no matter how many disclaimers he writes out, like he thinks that's going to work. Yeah, and it pissed me off. One, how fucking dare you ask me to do this? I've been there for 3-4 months, and you've known not to ask me. It's the first time he's asked me in 4 months. You know not to ask me because you must know. I mean, I'm the, with the exception of him, he's I'm 50, he's about 8-9 years older than me. I'm the oldest. Well, I'm the oldest person in the warehouse. So there's a woman that's about that age, but the rest of them are, got to be 18, 18 to 40. So yeah, so he's known not to ask me. How dare he ask me to do this thing, and how dare he fucking argue with me over it 4 or 5 times, having me saying no, 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 I will not do it. You're putting me in a position here that's making me right uncomfortable, and I know this to be dangerous. Yeah, so hopefully that'll be the last time that. And I can't believe he actually never came to me all the way, because this is like 1:30, right? He never come to me afterwards and said, I appreciate your side, your point of view, and how how you've got certain standards when it comes to driving and safety and health and safety and all this. I'm sorry to put you in that position. Nothing, Yeah. So anyway, that kind of fucking pissed me off for a while. But hopefully he'll have the good sense not to ask me to do anything stupid like that again. I tell you, because I've seen some crazy shit. There was one place I worked at. What was it? I can't remember the fucking name now. Anyway, it was a loading bay, There was myself, the manager, and there was these two kids working there. Their job, see, I had a department I had my own desk in the corner there. I was in the warehouse. I was doing some stuff. I was in charge of that, and they were it was a reach truck, actually, not forklift. It was a reach truck. Their job was to drive the reach truck, and they were a couple of stoners as well. And what they used to do was see, because this particular model of a reach truck that we had back. I almost said the name. I can't remember the name. It had a couple of metal cups underneath the reach truck. The idea was that you could, because a reach truck, a reach truck you can turn on the dime, as they say. They would put it on full lock, foot down on the pedal, and just thrash this thing round and round and round and round and round and round. And the only reason why it didn't spin out control and end up on its side was because of these cups welded to the bottom of the reach truck. To stop it from tipping over. I've seen that. No places that I've ever worked at where I've seen people lifted on the forks, I don't think, except for here. Actually, I probably have, but it's something that I've not been around too much. I've been to warehouses. I used to work with a guy where we repaired these roller shutters, and do maintenance and shit. I've been in places where there's been fork holes through the roller shutters of the warehouse door, where somebody's gone along, hey, you doing? Bang, straight, there's two fucking holes in the door. Or they reversed it, like at the place where I'm at now. Somebody's actually hit that door because it's all bent out of shape. It still works, still goes up, and it goes up, and then it goes flat on the ceiling. It goes up high. Somebody's hit that at some point. I've seen racking that's been not here, but other places that's been really rammed. I tell you, you take your life in your hands somewhere sometimes, because when you've got a policy like at this place, the health and safety on the forklift truck is fucking, I've driven all these things, but I've told the agency I don't want to drive any trucks. I don't want to do anything. I want the minimum amount of responsibility. I just want to go in and do the job, and which is what I'm doing. But the trouble is, when I was on the YTS, I got trained by a professional. Okay, it was a dedicated week-long course, and we learned how to drive the truck, health and safety, bullshit, all that stuff. Ever since then, I've got plenty of what they call in-house licenses, where an in-house license is basically you go in and you get the manager to train you for 3 hours on the reach truck or forklift or the high bay or cherry picker truck. And then that's it. He's probably not qualified to teach any fucker, but he's been there a while, so he teaches you. So basically, you learn from somebody who's not qualified, And at this place, basically, you got people who have zero knowledge or respect for health and safety, teaching new guys how to drive the truck. And it is obvious that, it's like, honestly, they'll drive backwards, 20 feet without even looking in the. See, when I was taught, you don't move, you don't go backwards unless you're looking backwards. Direction of travel, they call it. You look in the direction that you're going. If you're going in reverse, you fucking be looking in reverse, right? You don't pull it in reverse, drive back, and then move and then pick up this. No, you make, because you've got people, you got obstacles, you got bullshit, you got your stuff laying around all over, especially people. But here, you've got people, they'll just drive back, drive forwards, they don't care. So it's up to you to sort of, you got to have eyes in the back of your head. Anyway, it's so that's why. So and also the places where I've driven reach trucks and forklifts, like I say, lots of different trucks. every day, like on the truck, usually it's on the truck or very nearby, you have a checklist and you have to go over that truck. It takes about 15 minutes. Okay, does the horn work? Is the seat fucking rattling around? Are the tires okay? Is there any big chunks out of the tires? Nope. You check the forks. Are the forks cracked? Is there any cracking in the metal? And then you lift the forks up all the way up, all the way down. You tilt forward. You tilt if it's a tilt reach truck. Tilt forward, tilt back. Reach trucks, you can, or some forklifts, you can move the fork sideways as well. So you do that. Test the horn. Test the brakes. Then you go into the battery. Does it look like there's corrosion and shit all over it? Is there any cables that are exposed? You've got to go through 30 things on their fucking checklist. And we used to do that every day. Every time a person gets on, like 6 to 2, you do it in the morning. When you leave, the next shift comes on, he does his own checks. And then the night shift, they do their own checks. You've got 30 things to check off. Here, nothing. It's what was it? The reach truck, the guy that left showed me the handbrake didn't even work. You could put the handbrake on and it would still drive, but the handbrake didn't work. It was so that's one of the reasons why I don't want to be doing anything with a forklift or reach, because we've got both forklift and a reach truck. One, because I don't want the responsibility. I just want to get in there and do a bunch, of work and then piss off. They got enough reach truck and forklift drivers there. And two, I don't trust the machine that they're giving me to fucking drive. I can't trust a machine that hasn't been serviced or checked ever. Well, they do have stickers on them, which they were serviced, when a guy comes in and services them. But you got no idea how good or bad or what he's done for a service. No idea. There is no daily checks, which is kind of scary because, when you're used to doing a safety check, a 30-point safety check every shift, like I say, it takes quarter of an hour, and nothing is done on here. There could be a crack in the chain. Yeah, because you've got to check the chain on the mast that lifts the forks. Check the hose. Look at the hoses. Is there any splits in the hoses? If there's anything wrong with it, and then you're the guy that's driving the truck when the hose explodes, it comes down. You're the guy. So so I can't, you can't trust the machine that you're working on. So so that's what it's like. Anyway, so that was that's what I was asked to do today, and I flat out refused. You see, the thing is, a younger person, like a lot of the other people that work there, they're probably, a lot of people might think, oh shit, well, if I tell them no, then it kind of puts me in a bad position where I might get fired, or I don't want to get fired, but I'm not about to. I'm old enough to be smart enough. You learn a thing or two, and I'm 51 years old, right? You learn a thing or two about how the world works, and if I know that if I'm in that driver's seat and something goes wrong, the company will not say, the company's not going to stand up in court and say, Your Honor, it's not Mark's fault. No, see, because the thing is, we have a policy. We allow people to be lifted up on the trucks. It's something that we teach them. It's something that we tolerate. We encourage this kind of behavior. But no, it's like, well, you shouldn't be doing it. Any fucking idiot can tell you that you don't be put. And also, they have a cage that's dedicated to this as well. I don't get it. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing today. Basil Faulty, only naughty I do on works for if his race forks up while moving forwards. Yeah. Well, sometimes, depending on if you've got to get over, around obstacles, and you can lift them up and then swing into location. That can be done. Oh yeah, but and the other thing as well that they do at my art place is you see the thing is it's like what they say is direction of travel. If you're traveling in a direction, you make sure you're looking that way, right? What they'll do, they'll pick up a pallet which is way over, which is high. It's got to be 8 feet tall. They'll drive forward with this fucking thing blocking their view. Oh yeah. See, the rest of us are taught to travel backwards. Go to where you're going, maneuver yourself, and then drop drop the thing. No, they'll just travel forward with this bloody huge pallet of boxes on it where they can't see where they're going. And they rarely sound the horn to allow you to, know what we know that they are. So you've got to be looking. You've got to be aware. Henry 420, give the stream a like, guys, if you haven't already. It's a good point. Yeah, if anybody hasn't hit the like, by all means, go ahead. I got my count says 17 likes, which is not bad. So yeah, and of course, when you see this kind of practice happening, any sensible person like me would be like, well, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to be caught up in some bad practices like they're doing, traveling in a direction that's blocked with a pallet on there they're carrying, lifting people up, using machinery that's faulty. I mean, this fucking thing, the handbrake wouldn't work. He showed me on it. The handbrake wouldn't work. And using stuff that's not been, regularly checked. War ready. Does the forklift have a seat belt? You know what? I think it might. Not all. I've driven a whole bunch in my life, and I've never used one with a seat belt. I never used one that had one, but I think this one does. It has a seat belt. I believe it does because I've seen one person wear it and then never again. Okay, comments are jumping. Oh, Henry 420 says, interesting day, better than mine. Well, I'll tell you, yeah. Yeah, because that kind of annoyed me for a while. One, that he would ask me to do this dangerous thing, and two, not taking no for a fucking answer when I've told, no, I don't want to do it. I'll find somebody else because I know they're stupid enough, but wouldn't take no for an answer. Oh, George C is in the house. Hello to you. Says hello to everybody. Let's see. Barlini Young Offenders. Evening, Mark. Just had to chase some lads away from the entry, all loitering around, touching each other. Barry, do you ever throw a bottle of juice on the warehouse floor and do loads of donuts for a laugh? Well, no, the thing is, I've never done. I mean, I've seen people like the guy described, go thrashing it around in circles. When I worked at the council recycling place, they used it at the ground floor because there's lots of mezzanine floors with all the conveyor belts, all the paper and garbage, and that gets sorted out. On the ground floor, they use it as a skating rink. Oh yeah, they'll drop, because you got bits of plastic, cans, paper, rubbish all over the floor. The floor's thick with it on the ground floor. Oh yeah, they'll drive along, hit the brakes, skid sideways, and then go into the location. Oh, it's a madhouse. But no, I've never been one for using it as dodgem cars or demolition derby or anything like that. It's sort of. I mean, I've had a few accidents, of course. I mean, you drive trucks long enough, you will hit objects. You will, bash a pallet, you know. But yeah, I've never done anything dangerous. If anybody approaches my truck, the handbrake comes on. Right, what do you want? Great, now good, piss off, and then handbrake comes off, and I'm doing my other thing. Because I used to work in a place. One of my first jobs. I worked in this little loading bay, and what they did, they had a big Arctic every I don't know, Friday. They had a big Arctic lorry come with 30 pallets of newspapers, and my job was to go out, get the pallets of newspapers, bring them out, put them on the in a line in the car park, and all the guys, all these cars used to show up, and they used to grab all the bundles of newspapers, load the car up, and their job was to go deliver it to the delivery boy, the paper boy. Right, that's how that worked. And all the time, I'd have people approaching my forklift. Oh, listen, see, because what we did, we had Milton Keynes, we had Leighton Buzzard, we had Bedfordshire newspapers, all that lot. They all used to come here. So you got different drivers wanting for different areas, and they'd be like, "Oh, listen, Mark, can you sort me out a pallet of and they'll be right up, right to your truck, so there's nothing you can do. You have to put the handbrake on, see what they want, and make sure they move away before you move away, yeah, because people don't seem to realize how fucking dangerous this is. I've been asked, if I will, not just at this place, in the past, I've been asked if I'll lift people up on the forks. Of course, you have to tell them sod off. And I've actually had my forks up trying to get into a pallet, 30 feet up in the air. And I've had people come along and say, "Oh, listen, can I just, you've got to tell them, get the fuck back. Do not walk under my forks, F2 Wensworth. Hi, Mark. Can you say my name, please? Okay. F2 Wensworth. There you go. Barry, got to smash a few eggs to make an omelette in it. Indeed. Okay. Okay, yeah, George C. Forklift driver's license is a simple thing to put you in front of other potential warehouse workers. Worth getting if you can. Well, I tell you, I've got to disagree with you there, George C. See, when I got my when I got my license, my license, that was the case. It put you. So if a few guys went in for a job, okay, blah blah blah. Oh, got a forklift license, right? Okay, you're slightly elevated to, Now I've got to be honest. In my opinion, no. It basically doesn't. It's not. From what I've seen and my experience, it's not really worth the paper it's printed on. Unless if you want to progress in the warehouse and be one of the drivers in a warehouse, it will help you. It won't do any harm. But nowadays, see, the thing is, other than my government issued forklift, every other truck that I've ever driven in warehouses has been in-house. You'd be there a while, you'd be like, okay, Mark, right, you want to learn how to drive the, okay, yeah, brilliant. They get one of the guys out of the office, a manager, some guy, to train you. And it's called an in-house. So it's only really worth anything in that particular building, in that company. You can can go to another warehouse and say, well, look, I had an in-house license at Tesco. It's not worth shit, but what it does, it shows that you're not some schmuck who just walks in off the street. I mean, you are capable of learning how to drive a truck. But now you can walk in. I mean, like at this place, you've got guys that have been a few weeks, and what they do is they actually got the kid, the not kid, but the young fella. He left to go to college. They got him back for a day. He fucking left 3 weeks ago. They got him back for the day or for half morning to teach a couple of new guys how to drive the truck. Rather than do it properly and get a professional in, or make sure they got a license. They just got some, I think this guy was like 18 or 20. He was going to college. He left to go to, he's there for a year and a half. He left to go to college. They called him back for half a day to teach these two or three new guys. And, that's how it works. So, in my experience, it's really not, it's hardly worth the paper it's printed on, in my experience. Because anybody can drive a truck now. Or they give you half an hour's training. And then you're trained by a guy who's picked up bad habits because he was trained by some goof who, trained him a while back. Barlini young offenders. Sounds like some real health and safety breaches occurring in your workplace. Should probably start reporting those out. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, yeah, I mean, it is kind of. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't walk in there fearing for my life every, minute of the day. But I'm definitely, you definitely need to be aware that if you turn a corner, you need to be putting your face around the corner first instead of just walking around. You need to be aware of where that reach truck is and make sure you're not standing anywhere behind him when he reverses, because he won't be able, But it's not like I'm in fear every day, but I'm definitely, you need to be awake. You need to be aware that you are responsible for your own health and safety, because the driver, they're not interested. Well, I don't know, but maybe not, they're not interested, but they're just not trained properly, in my, in my humble opinion. Things, if I was doing the training, things would be a whole fucking lot different, let me tell you. None of this shenanigans of driving forward with a big pallet in front of you. No, you drive in reverse. There'll be none of that. There'll be the horn used. The horn is very seldom used. Okay, you have. Oh, okay, right, Basil. Right, so all right. Is it somebody? Basil Foley's talking about the vaccine. Actually, George C. You've got the more recent experience, Mark. So I take your word for it. Oh, thank you. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, that's just my experience, that when you can walk in and get one of, a guy in the warehouse to train you for 4 hours, it's that simple nowadays. Basil Fawlty, have I had the vaccine? Well, that's the thing. You know what? I got asked that in my workplace when I first started there. A few months ago, 3-4 months ago, there was a person there. She asked me, I got the impression she asked everybody. She said, "Have you had the vaccine?" I said, "No." What have I done? I've had the one vaccine, and no, I haven't had the follow-up ones like this. She said, I can't remember if I explained that I wasn't too thrilled about what the government trying to pass on as healthcare. I can't remember if I explained too much, but yeah, she went away. Then a week ago, she come to me again. This is 3-4 months later, and she said, "I remember what you said months ago about your jab, and I was wondering, have you had any more? Have you had any more vaccine, plague jabs since then?" And I say, "Listen, I've got to be honest with you. I'm really not comfortable with discussing my personal health details with you or anybody." She says, "Oh, well, it's not just me. I'm asking on behalf of the management, the upper management, that they're asking me to." So I asked this other guy. I said, "Has she been asking you about the vaccine, plague vaccine antidote?" She said, "Oh yeah. She asked me," and he gave up the details. But apparently, she's asking on behalf of the upper management. And I explained to her. I explained to her that I'm not particularly thrilled with being asked personal health details, and I'm not thrilled with having been asked to divulge personal information that I'll be sharing with my doctor. If the upper management think that everybody's got to be vaccinated or they're out of a job, a bit like what's going on in America, then that's that's their decision. They got no business asking me about my personal details. And I said to the woman, so well, the manager, I pointed to the empty desk where the manager would sit. Well, what about if I ask him about his criminal record? How fucking far do you think that'll get me? If I do, yes, it will be none of my fucking business. That's what it'll be. Ask a guy about his criminal record or ask a guy about his personal health details. So so I rang the agency and I said, "What's this bullshit about being, they're chasing me about asking personal details?" And and it turns out, she said, "Well, look, listen, you don't have to answer nothing. If they got any problems, have them contact us." And it's. But I'll tell you what, there's so much. The thing is, I mean, I've been saying all along about the plague vaccine. Because I tell you, it sounds like a bunch of hooey to me, right? Because one, you get the first jab, right? When it first started off, you get the first jab. Then 2 weeks later, you get the second jab. Okay, so now you're covered. Okay, so but no, you're not covered because you still have to wear the mask. So why get the fucking injection if you're still going to wear the mask to protect others, to protect yourself? Why go for the get the thing? Then you've got to get a booster, because you got the initial jab, then you got the booster, then you got a second booster, which still doesn't cover you because you're still going to wear the mask. Now you've got what's it called? Somebody writing there. What it was the somebody write the new strain that's out there. Whatever the new one is that they've invented now. So now you've got a new strain. So now that's a new virus. You've got a new vaccine you've got to take. Another on top of that. So when will you need a booster for the new one? Something fuck me. That's yeah, I mean, great. Listen, if you trust the government to do the right thing in your, looking out for your welfare, great. Personally, I'm not too. The older I get, the more cynical I get, and the less I believe that the government are out to help me. Thank you, George C. Omicron, or Omnicron, as George as fucking Kitty Sniffer Biden would pronounced it the other day. Omicron with an N, Omicron, but no, Omicron. Almost an anagram for moron. But yeah, so that Omicron fucking thing comes along. So a month from now, you're gonna have a booster for that, and then they'll invent some other strain that come out. Barlini young offenders. I'd have straight up clotheslined her for that comment. I don't know who he's talking to. Susan asked, "Do you have a criminal record?" No, I don't. You get into trouble now and again when you're a kid. Fucking around on building sites and stuff. But no, I don't have a criminal record. Mad Maz 49. Do you think Biden is wrong for forcing the vaccine on people? Yes, I do. Because especially America, where it's the land of the free, home of the brave, and all that kind of shit, the freedom of choice. Okay, it's like I had this discussion with somebody on the allotment the other day about freedom of choice. This guy was, because he caught the plague, right, and now he's he didn't die or anything, but he was fucked up for a while. He caught the plague, so he's of the opinion that everybody should have the virus, the antidote thing, the jabs. And I was trying to, I was explaining to him, I said, well, that's a slippery slope. when the government force medical treatment on you, where the fuck's that going to lead? So yeah, I think Biden is wrong, and I think it's wrong that police officers, healthcare, firefighters, lots of people are getting fired from their jobs because they refuse to take the virus, take the jabs. I think that's wrong, and Joe Biden needs to fucking drop dead. Do the country a favor, drop dead. Well, that's the thing. I mean, then you're left with Kamala Harris, right? And then Kamala Harris is the vice president. And it turned, I only learned this the other day, the third in line for president is that old fucking witch. What's her name? The one people have heard me describe, when she was doing that bend the knee bullshit, bending the knee to, please, black man, don't hate me and don't cause riots, and that bending the knee to the criminals. All the police were doing it, the politicians were doing it. What's her name? That old fucking witch. She's like 90 years old. Ugh. Nancy Pelosi. Thank you, Basil Fawlty. Nancy Pelosi. She's third in line. I mean, fuck me, you've got Biden, who's like 80. You've got Kamala Harris, who's useless as a fucking chocolate fire guard, right? She's got to be 50, say, give or take. She's young, but useless as all fucking hell. And then you've got Nancy Pelosi, who's got to be between 80 and 85. I mean, she looks old, right? She looks older than Biden. She ought to be in a fucking home or something. You wouldn't. There's that old gag when I was a kid. It's like when Ronald Reagan was around, and this is when the threat of nuclear explosions and the buttons. The comedians would come up and say, my granddad is 5 years older than Ronald Reagan. We don't trust him with a remote control for the telly. Never mind about the button for the nuclear bombs. And that's what it's like with these geriatrics. I mean, you've got Biden, who's obviously out of his mind. You've got Kamala Harris, who is useless as all hell. What's her name? Nancy Pelosi, who's just an evil person. These are the three people who are running the world now. Running the country. Running the country. So yeah, I think Biden is wrong. Well, Biden's been wrong on everything. It's hard to believe he's only been in office for 10 months now, and he's fucked everything that he's put his hands on. He's got the reverse Midas touch. That guy. The thing is, when I was a kid, I mean, there was you'd always hear about why is that? I don't want to. The thing is, I don't want to get myself into trouble here, but honestly, sometimes when I'm watching him on the telly, I'm thinking, how does this guy not been assassinated already? Honestly. Why is nobody sort of, they shot Reagan, they shot the guy from the book suppository in the car. Somebody remind me of his name. I don't fucking think. Why has Biden not been shot yet? Honestly, but the thing is, I'm not saying anybody should, but I'm just saying, I just wonder why, Oh, yeah, George C. US is screwed. Let me tell you, and I tell you, this is going to sound crazy, okay? Because I follow I like to watch the Fox News. I don't watch the NBC and the fucking all them other shitheads. I watch Fox. Because all the other channels they make up. They make up stories. Absolute garbage. The Paul Rittenhouse kid that was acquitted on because he was getting jumped by some wankers in the fucking riots, and he shot them and killed a bunch. I think I want to say Spain and a few other countries, and also some media companies, media outlets in America, was saying that he killed some black people, which is totally untrue. And then, of course, that leads all the people, people like those stupid women on the View, all saying how he murdered somebody and all this lot, and it's a hate crime, and he's out vigilante. Even my local shit paper, the one that's so bad that you see, because the thing is, they used to deliver what's called the Citizen newspaper to your house, but because it was so shit, they only printed it because of the advert money. They were getting advert money to pay for the print. That's how it worked. The paper was so shit, it must have been that people stopped paying for adverts, so they stopped delivering it. Now what they do, they give it away free on the buses. It's called the Metro. Basically, it's the same thing, only it's like the national. What it does, it tells you. I don't even read it. I've got to be honest. I read the headlines. I just take it because I take all the newspapers. I get loads of them and I shred them up for bedding for the chickens. But I was looking through one of them, and it actually called this Rittenhouse, Kyle Rittenhouse, vigilante. This is the kind of shit that they're spewing. And I can't remember how I got to. Yes, so I listened to Fox. Oh, my knees. Yeah, so I can't remember. I've derailed. Sorry, I'm gonna have to. I'll have to jump onto another subject. I can't even remember what the bloody hell I was talking about. Yeah, but the country is going to. Oh, that was it. Yeah, it's going to sound mad, okay, but I like to watch these history channels, right? On the things like the Aztecs, the Romans, the Incas, all that lot. You know how you've got these huge 100,000 citizens living in a big city, and all of a sudden, what happens is, for some reason, everybody's gone, and the cities, like let's say the Aztecs and the Incas and all that lot. The jungle over a period of 100 years, the jungle just covers the whole of the city, and it's all buried under thick trees and stuff. And then you got people hacking their way through the jungle, and they find it, and then they clear it, and it turns out there's some pyramids and buildings and stuff. And because you're watching these documentaries, I find they're really interesting. Like how the Roman Empire fell. It was the biggest. It was like the equivalent to America now. It basically ruled the world. It invaded everywhere, took over everywhere. The biggest powerhouse on the planet. And then all of a sudden, it went for thousands of years, and then it stopped, and now it's all in ruins. And you've got ruin. The amphitheaters and all this lot. And of course the Incas. How did they let the jungle take over their metropolis? And there's a few theories, but I'm thinking, is this how America's going? Because if you think about it, America was the biggest powerhouse on the planet. Okay, it's like what would they call them? I don't know what they call it. It is the most powerful country. Okay. Then all of a sudden, possibly some links to the, like the scenario in the Incas and the Romans. In this particular scenario, you've got some inept person who stole the election. Okay, let's be honest. The election was stolen. Biden, the crooked bastard, and all his friends stole that election. He gets into power. He fucks things up from the minute he starts. The country is imploding. You've got crime going through the roof. They've decriminalized a lot of crimes. Okay, shoplifting. It is what they call a misdemeanor. You don't even get charged hardly unless it's like $900. There are fuckers walking in the shops with calculators. This is all on the. They film this. You've got people on their phones filming shoplifters, and then they're going to calculators, making sure everything's under $950. And if they get caught, you got people with garbage bags full of aspirins and makeup and all that on the way out. Now you've got gangs, 30 strong, going into Versace, snatching all the handbags, smashing display cases, getting all the jewelry out of jewelry shops, and running out. You've got 30 strong gang. And you look at this, and they're not arresting them. They're just if they do get arrested, they're pretty much slung out after a few hours. They're not doing any time. The police have been criminalized. The police are the bad guys according to these people. The police are leaving. Basically, you're on your own. If you're a citizen that's not armed, you're fucking prey. You're the wildebeest on the savannah, all right? And the fucking lions are coming for you, right? So if you're not armed, you're lunch. And all these things, okay, and then of course you've got Biden, with the oil, and of course, and then Russia and Hong Kong or Japan and China. They're all looking at this inept goof that's running the place, and it makes me think the way that the Roman Empire disappeared. All right, it was the biggest powerhouse on earth. You got the Incas, the Aztecs, so they built all these pyramids, and now a couple of hundred years later, several hundred years, the jungle's taken over. Is this where America's going? Obviously, I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to be deserted like like the Amazon forest. It's going to get taken over by the trees. No. But what I'm saying is, it is imploding. Anybody can see that. You spent enough time watching the news. It is fucking falling apart. People are leaving the cities. They're moving to other states where they don't get taxed so much, because they're getting taxed up the wazoo. You're not getting any police help for it. You're on your own. You take your life in your hands going down to the grocery store. Prices are going up. Okay, on all the products. They're talking about meat and milk and bread and all that going up like several percentage points in cost. So I think that it's quite possible that the way things are going, I mean, I don't want to sort of put a time on it as such, but it could be, America would be almost a wasteland. It would be like Mad Max, for Christ's sake. You've seen those movies. There's no law. Everybody's out for yourselves. So, basically, if you want something, you've got to murder somebody for their stuff, which is pretty much, now. But it's going the way of the Aztecs. You imagine in 200 years' time, when the country's all looks, it's totally imploded and it's fucking gone. There'll be what do they call them? I can't think straight. I'm tired and I've had that vodka and I need to eat. Archaeologists, they go in just like they're digging up in the Roman artifacts. They dig up a little town and they dig down 6 feet. Is that what America's going to be like? I mean, it's going to hell. It really is. Their best thing I'll tell you, it's too late now, but I mean, give it back to the original people. Give it back to them. They had it for thousands of years and they never fucked it up half as bad as it's going now. Give it back to the Navajo and the Crow and the Bigfoot and all them Indians. Well, what they call Indians, that was a big mistake. They thought they landed on India and they sort of get, you're Indians. Even though they were told they weren't in India. But yeah, give it back to the original people, But like I say, it's too late now. But it's interesting as hell to watch how a country just falls apart. Because there's so many things that are going wrong. Anyway, so that's my 2 cents on what's going on in America. It used to be known as the land of opportunity. I mean, you hear all that. The stories would be exaggerated. You got some immigrant come off the boat with 13 cents in his pocket, and now he's he worked and worked and worked. But you do get the sense. You do get the sense when you look at American shows and American people and businesses that it is the land of opportunity. You can go there, you work hard, you save your money, you can turn a burger van into a restaurant chain. Over a period of time, you save, you invest in, work hard. And, But now you can't do it. I mean, you aside because aside from the Chinese plague fucking that up for everybody, now you've got rioting in the streets. You've got businesses being burnt down. You've got 30 strong gangs of shoplifters. We go in, ransack the place, and and then because all this stuff, what they're finding, all these shops that are being raided, not just the handbags and all that lot. That's fairly new with the 30 strong gangs, but this business of where people are walking in with garbage bags, filling them up with aspirin, pills, makeup, and all that lot. All that stuff's going on the market. There's been my nose is itching. I need a shave. There's been videos. All this stuff's heading on the market, and the equivalent to car boot sales. A fifth of the price. Okay, Henry 420. You're looking well, Mark. Nice to see you looking after yourself. Thank you very much. I need to take a leaf out of my own book, to be honest. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I feel okay. Aside from the bullshit I had to put up with when I first started at this job, it's starting to get better now. Now I'm being left, I'm not getting treated like a fucking moron. It's partly due to the training. The training there is shit. They give you 3 minutes worth of training, and then you're on your own and you're expected to know everything. But it's great. I tell you what, the guns are really sort of coming back. I've explained this before that when I was 25, I was bodybuilding. All right. And then later years I stopped. But when I do physical work, like, that time when I had the, that machine with a pole on it and I'm chiseling away at the fireplace, it's above your head, or I'm lifting paving slabs and all that. Do that for a couple of weeks. The guns start coming back, and they're really starting to fill out now. The chest, the shoulders, and the biceps, and the triceps as well. The triceps, for anybody who doesn't know, is at the back of your. You've got your bicep, your tricep. They're coming back. I don't eat too much garbage food. I mean, and this is just from lifting boxes. I like that. Let's see. Mad Maz, Biden is helping lots of Africans by sending them the vaccines. Yeah, great. If Africa, yeah, I didn't realize that, but I know he's looking to give a shitload of money. These illegal immigrants that are coming over that river, that Texas River, is it the Rio Grande, over into Texas, and they're coming. He's looking to pay them for their inconvenience. The guy's out of his mind, Battle Faulty, it was so obviously stolen. You're right, Mark. Yeah, that election. I can't believe that election. I can't believe they got away with that. Honestly, I'm fucking, because they've got everything on film. You've got bogus water pipes going. All right, they tell everybody, all the counters that are doing this stuff. They tell them they have to leave 3 hours early because there's a water pipe in the bog that's broke. So everybody's out. Everybody goes. They lock the doors. All of a sudden, they're pulling boxes out from under tables, running the same ballot paper through the machine 5 times. So you got a box of ballot papers with 1,000 things on it. They're putting everyone through it 5, 10, 15 times. And it's all on film that they were doing it, and nobody's gone to jail for it. You've got what was and that other famous one where they shut the ballot office And then what they do, there was some guy, a reporter, in his car sitting outside at 2 o'clock in the morning. A fucking van showed up, dragging all these boxes on trolleys into the counting building. After it had been shut, it got shut like 9 o'clock in the evening or 7 o'clock in the evening. 2 o'clock in the morning, when everybody's asleep, boxes were being delivered. Under the cover of night, 2 o'clock in the morning. All this shit that was, and nobody got arrested for it, and they, ugh. Biden is African. It's mad about Biden is helping lots of Africans. Yeah, he's helping everybody, but the people he's supposed to be helping. He's fucking his own citizens in helping the Mexicans, giving them a free ticket, and helping every other. Ugh. But that's politicians in general, they do that over here in England. You find out on the news that they've given your tax money to some fucking other country without your, what are they? I didn't vote for them to give my money away to some foreigners, but they'll do it. Yeah, George C. Yeah, they've been printing extra money, which they think that's a good idea. Which, I'm no expert, but I can see that printing money. See what they've done. They've stretched themselves, overextended themselves. So what they do, the idea is to print more money, put that out, but that, of course, that devalues the money. Same principle as the diamond companies. They hold back if they flood the market with everything they've got. They've got fucking millions and millions. They've got warehouses full of diamonds. If they flood the market with all the diamonds, the price goes down because there's a lot of diamonds around. Nobody's going to pay a fortune for it because there's so much of it. So what they do, they hold it back. Leak out a little bit of supply, a little bit of diamonds every now and again, just enough to keep the fucking price up high. It's like that with the money. If you flood the market, it's like the Germans. That was one of their plans to do in England during the war. Their plan was to go over in planes and start throwing money, millions and millions of pounds, out the window of the planes. And of course, people would be picking it up off the street and then spending it, and the money would have no value. That was their plan. They never went for it, but that was the plan. The more if they start printing off loads of money, it's worth less. Just like diamonds, and it is, and it is a viable way of collapsing an economy because the Germans were thinking of it. They were close to doing it. Imagine if they dropped. If they, like during the war, if they'd have dropped £10 million in £10 notes, slung them out the door of the aeroplanes, everybody's got a suitcase full of money. Okay, they'll be going out and buying a Lamborghini. They'll be buying speedboats and fuck knows what else. It would be anyway. You get the idea. Okay. Yeah. Anybody not hit the thumbs up? By all means, I'll just keep chatting if people are listening. If people are enjoying, the content. Okay. What we got here? More about Africa. Esri Moshi. Probably not pronounced that right, but hello to you. ESZRI. Esri. Thoughts on the vaccine? Oh, fuck me. Look at this. Look, T29 ASM. Thoughts on the vaccine? Well, I think great. Bring out the vaccine. If you want the vaccine, go for it. If you think that you're in the high risk area, if you're above 65, if you're a poor health, if you think the government are fucking your pal, if they think they're out, if you think they're out there looking after you, great. Take the vaccine. If not, you're an adult. You don't. You don't have to take it, and I don't think that people should be forced to it. I mean, when I had that chat with a guy in the allotments, these Jehovah's Witnesses came up in conversation. They don't believe in blood transfusions. You know, there's been cases where I mean, I remember when I was a kid, you got the Jehovah's Witnesses. They you know, they'd rather, you know, that they wouldn't let their children have blood transfusion if they, you know, had a serious accident, which is a bit wrong, you know, when you got you know, an adult who's supposed to be looking out for the children and they're not looking out for their welfare, like in the healthcare business, you know, aspect. But as an adult, yeah, because I mean, even now here in England, if you get hit by a car, fall off a ladder, the smart thing to do is to receive medical treatment. Okay, but as an adult, you are allowed to refuse medical treatment. No, thank you. I'll sew up my own arm, you know, or you know, no, thank you. I'll go out and I'll find my own penicillin. You're allowed to do that, you know. As an adult, you can do that. You can refuse medical treatment, but it turns out when it's a case of the plague vaccine, in some countries it's compulsory, or they're demonizing people who don't want to take the vaccine. That's totally fucking wrong. You just take the vaccine or don't. If you take the vaccine, as far as you're concerned, you're covered. Okay. If you don't take the vaccine, you're old enough to make your own decisions. You know, it's like you're not gonna. If you wear the mask, if you take the vaccine and take the mask, you know, you should be well covered. Okay, those. Yeah, right, George C. Those millennial liberals are a disgrace. They pride themselves on group identify rather than doing something useful with their own life. Yeah, there's too many groups now. You know, I mean, this you know, what Dave Chappelle calls the alphabet people, the LG, LBTGQ, LGB, lesbian, gay, trans, fuck knows. They're every other month they're adding a letter onto the end of it, so now fuck knows where they're at. But yeah, there's a lot of groups. You know, you've got your I don't know. Oh, I'll tell you, can't think straight. But yeah, so I find it hard to. I mean, because I tell you, I'm against a lot of them. You know, even here, you know, when I see, you know, you see people with green hair and blue hair, you know, grown adults with pink or green, you know, blue, and sometimes a mixture of three different colors. You know, they're up to no good. And the thing is, they identify themselves by, you know, by the way they, you know, color their hair as the groups that are causing the trouble. You know, these LBGT fucking people, the Black Lives Matter people, the people who seem to think that it's okay to teach your kids that white is bad. You know, these school teachers teach people, other people's children, that white is bad and you should be apologizing for being white, and being white is racist, and fucking everything is racist. You know, the world's going to shit. You know, it's like George Carlin used to say. You know, the world's going to hell, and we're all getting a front row seat to it, and it really is true. And in actual fact, you know, we are at a unique time. Okay. Because you remember, I mean, you know, what I was saying a few moments ago about the Romans and the Aztecs and the Incas and the, you know, all these cities that used to thrive and they had hundreds of thousands of people, and now they're being buried under trees and they're all rubble. There was a time when all this flourished, and there were people living at that time looking around and thinking, oh, Jesus, This city is going to shit. This was you imagine the Incas, they're standing around thinking, well, a couple of years ago, this was a thriving city, and now crime is rampant. The government are fucking crooked. Everybody's leaving. Where's everybody going? Oh my God! There's not enough food coming in. Somebody actually stood there and thought, oh my God, I'm watching this happen. The Romans, again, they ruled the world at one point, pretty much. The half the world. It was a thriving country. There were people living at that time thinking, oh Jesus, this was a thriving city. This is the country, ruled the planet, and pretty much it's really going to hell. Crime's going through the roof. People are leaving. The buildings are crumbling. Crime is going crazy. The government are shit. They watched it happen, just like we're watching it happen now. In 200 years' time, they're going to be looking back and thinking, my God, this used to be the biggest country on the planet, the most powerful planet, and now look at it, it's rubble. Now we're digging. It's going to look like Planet of the Apes, when he's in the where Charlton Heston's in that cave, and they find that little doll, and he pulled it. That's what it's going to be like in 200 years' time. That's what they're going to be. They're going to be digging holes in New York City, 6 feet down, pulling out bits of stuff that we used to use. But now but just like them, we have a front row, and it's not just people who live in America, the whole world can see it. We have a front row seat to the destruction of a country, and it's sad, but it's interesting as all hell. I'm not saying it's good by any stretch. It's fucking crazy. But it's interesting to watch just how bad things are getting over there. It's unbelievable. And we have a front row seat to it. T29 ASM, any plans for Christmas, Mark? Not really. It's doubtful that the company that I'm with are going to have a Christmas party, being that there's only a few of us in there. They might, if anything, they might team up with because we share a building. We share the building with, like, I don't know, one or two other companies. So different. When you go around a perimeter, different doors and loading bays. It's you imagine a square building. This side is us, this side is another place, upstairs is somebody else. If anything, they'll team up with them, but I doubt if that'll happen because of the plague. People catching a plague. But you never know. I don't know yet. Basil Faulty. Yep, snowflakes everywhere. Get behind the patriotic alternative. The George C says, enjoy the decline is another phrase I've heard. I haven't heard that particular one, but I can see it, Yeah, because George, that comedian George Carlin was right, it's like you just all you can do is stand at the sidelines and just watch it happen, because there's it really is. If you break down everything that they've done, it started. What kicked it off was that lifetime criminal George Floyd, when he did the world a favor and died. Unfortunately, the policeman got thrown under the bus with that one. It started with him. He died, and then they were rioting, and then of course the mob. They've said in front of the camera, if we don't get the conviction of this policeman, then there's going to be more rioting. Anyway, there was months and months and months of rioting. They refused, or when they grabbed some protesters, they would just release them. There was that second in command Kamala Harris was responsible for that, letting getting bail money to let these people out. So legalizing crime, pretty much, letting them out scot-free, demonizing the police, making them the criminals, forcing them to resign because they're sick of it. Trying to demonize people like Rittenhouse, almost giving sainthoods almost to the criminals that he killed. Remember, one of them was a child rapist. So he did the world a favor there, of course, without knowing. He just knew that he was about to be murdered by some fuckers with skateboards and that. You got that. You got decriminalizing, petty crime. The whole thing's just falling inwards, and all you can do is watch. There's fuck all you can do, unless the only way to really do it is to. Of course, is to impeach Biden, get rid of Kamala Harris, and whatever that woman's name is. Oh, I've forgotten her name now. Nancy Pelosi, if she was to do everyone a favor and drop dead as well. And then get Donald Trump back in. Get him in. He's the man. He did the world a favor by taking the president's job. Let me tell you. And of course, they made him out to be the demon because all he wanted to do was put America first, which is what any good prime minister or politician or president would do. Put your own country first. But because he said it, racist. So that's why Biden got in, because they demoned Trump so much and made him out to be the bad guy. They would, they would have anybody. And Biden, don't forget, this is a country where they've had local elections in the past. I've seen documentaries on this, where the candidate who's going for mayor is so disliked, they've actually voted for a dog. Yeah, a dog will be on the ballot paper, and they voted a dog into to be mayor of certain towns in the past because the person running is so hated. They've had, as a joke, they've had houseplants go in for running for mayor. This has actually happened. They voted for a houseplant over this guy, who's running for mayor, and that's what they've done. The media demonized Donald Trump so badly they would have anybody in, and unfortunately, it turned in to be Biden. Mad Maz says George Floyd didn't deserve to die. Are you aware of his criminal record, Mad Maz? Okay, well, what I'll do, I'll remind you that he was a career criminal, all right, from the day fucking his mama squeezed him out. He was a criminal from day one. He did 7 years in prison for holding a gun on a pregnant woman while his friends ransacked her house. He did 7 years for that. He came out of prison. He was doing all kinds of crime left and right. What done him in was he was passing counterfeit notes. The police showed up. He was high as a kite. He was restrained. The drugs in his system fucked his heart up, and he ended up dying through very little fault of the policeman, in my opinion. But you're saying that this guy didn't deserve to die. I say that when you hold a pistol to a pregnant woman's stomach while your friends ransack her property, her house and her property, and then you don't learn your lesson there, and you go out and hand out dodgy notes at the local shop, you don't deserve. You're not exactly a stellar citizen, You say he doesn't deserve to die. I say he's not he's not a person that I would want to meet in the street, and I'm pretty certain that if you had any sense, you wouldn't want to meet that kind of person on the street. You wouldn't want him living next door to your place. So I say he did deserve to die, and I'm fucking glad he did. If the truth be known, I'm glad he did, and I'm glad those other fuckers that Rittenhouse dropped. I'm glad they're dead as well for their crimes against decent people. Basil Faulty says George Floyd was a pretty terrible person. He was, and I can't believe that they villainized that police officer, threw him under the bus, put him in the fucking jail. They even said in the protest outside the courtroom, if he doesn't get a conviction, there's going to be more rioting and more burning. That's what they said, and he got convicted. And the one of the juries afterwards says, "Yeah, I wasn't too sure about convicting him, but I didn't want the fucking my house burning up, and I didn't want any more shops to be burned." Strontium dog. Some people need to watch the body cam footage. Yeah, because what they did, okay, the asshole news outlets only showed a very small amount of footage at the very beginning of it, just enough to make it look like, oh, this poor black man being set on by the police and he ended up dying. Oh, poor man. No, you watch the whole thing and you see what the situation that poor policeman was put in. And you see how George Floyd was acting. Yeah, Pedophile says, you remind me of an older version of myself. If I ever get the chance, I'd buy you a pint. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it's good of you. Yeah, no, good. An older version of myself. Yeah, because the thing is, I can't be the only one. I mean, judging by my fan base, I tell you, my live streams get some pretty good viewings. I'm not the only one who feels that way, according to the the people who are watching. English Heart, hello to you. Strontium dog. Strontium, isn't that one of those metals on the that special chart? What do they call that chart? Of all the elements. I think that's right. Chauvin. I think that's the name of the police officer. Chauvin. Yeah. I can't believe he's still in. He should have been let out, but I don't think he's been let out. Do you think that either? Oh shit! Look, funky spectrum. Tony Strott. I don't know much about Tony Robinson. I think I've seen a little bit on the internet, but I don't know very much of him. Oh shit! All right, funky spectrum. Can I please answer the question about the potential Holocaust? Mark, do you think that either Tony Robinson or BLM will get a nuclear weapons and do a Holocaust? Well, that's the thing. I mean, the BLM, they're just a group of troublemakers stirring up other weak-minded people to join their group and cause trouble under the guise that Black Lives Matter and whitey is evil and we've been hard done by and we're getting reparations and we're causing trouble because we can. What are you going to do? We're black. You're not allowed to say anything about us. That's about, they've only gained traction because the news gives them traction. It's like with the alphabet people, the LGBTQ. The only reason why anybody knows about the LGBTQ and every little fucking alphabet letter that they've added onto it is because every time they bring one out, the news mentions it. Oh shit, they've added an E on the end of their LGBTQE. Now it's LGBTQ plus. You know, if the news stopped talking about Black Lives Matter, they would just be a bit. You know, they do things because they know the news is going to say their name and report their antics. You know, if nobody mentioned them, if they got fucking put in prison where they belong, then we wouldn't be hearing about their bullshit. You know, start giving out some prison sentences. You see how fast anybody wants to join their group. Then it's because there's no accountability for people's actions. That's why people are joining the BLM. That's why they're joining the the gangs that are doing ransacking places, businesses. Yeah, Basil Fawlty, people. Yeah, the making George Floyd out to be a hero. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I love it when somebody throws a can of paint onto a George Floyd statue or a George Floyd painting on a wall. Makes my day when the news reports, oh, some evil fuckers, destroyed this statue, threw paint on it. The you know what made me laugh? They had a statue of George Floyd, the big fucking hero that guy was, right? Somebody slung a can of paint on it. The next day, the news is filming some people with a scrubbing brush scrubbing the paint off the George Floyd's face. It's only white people. No black people are scrubbing fucking paint off of George Floyd's face. No, it's stupid white motherfuckers that are doing it, which makes me laugh almost as much as having the paint thrown at. I tell you what, if they put a George Floyd, if they did if they had a wall, because we have underpasses, it's like little bridges you go under and then the road goes over the top of the cars. They call them underpasses. If they ever put a George Floyd memorial over there, I'd be slinging paint all over it. I'll walk over there at middle of the night, of course, under the cover of dark. But I'd be throwing paint all over any if a George Floyd memorial painting ever happened around here. And I'll admit to it. Well, I wouldn't admit to it. I'll deny it up and down, Your Honour. But I'll admit it here now. I'll do it. If they ever put a statue on it, I'll be putting some car tires on it, set that alight. I'm sick of it. You don't make criminals into heroes. That's that's a downward slope. You've got a fucking day one from the minute he was born scumbag, career criminal. You turn him into a hero, and that's what they've done. Fuck him. George Floyd can rot in hell. Okay, people are talking amongst themselves. Jesus. All right, Funky Spectrum. Mark, what do you think of the internet rumor that the Dalai Lama has killed someone or killed some people with a knife or something like that? Do you think it is real? And if not, do you think he could do it? Well, I mean, he's human, I guess. The thing is, the Dalai Lama, I don't know too much about them, but I tell you, people think that the Dalai Lama is some kind of big hot shit over there, Mother Teresa, for example, I was watching a documentary once on Mother Teresa, another slightly off subject, but on subject. People say that she was a miracle, she was a saint and all this, From what I can gather from the documentaries that I've seen on her, she went over as a missionary, reading the Word of God and all this lot. She would only give medical care to people who, resorted to Christianity. Took the Word of God and made it their own. Basically converted to Christianity. She wouldn't give medical treatment to the poor fuckers who were dying unless they converted to Christianity. That's something that I learned about her. So who knows? Dalai Lama, he could be a crack dealer for all I know. What I'm saying is, just because people are made to be saints, heroes or do-gooders. Yeah, a lot of them have got dark histories. Mother Teresa for one of them, possibly the Dalai Lama. Who knows? Man. English Heart. You should mix some red and white paint and chuck it on the George Floyd, and make it. You'd be making it into a Pink Floyd. That's pretty. I like that. Pink Floyd. Actually, that'd be. I'm wondering. I can't believe that hasn't been in the news already. You think somebody would have thought? I never thought about it until you just mentioned it. But yeah, throwing a pink can of paint on over George Floyd's statue, turning into Pink Floyd instead of George Floyd. Funky Spectrum, a horrible woman. Yeah, it turns out she wasn't so nice after all. Then Mother Teresa. Yeah, Funky Spectrum. Yeah, horrible woman. George C. Giving anyone too much power, attention, and respect often leads to that person taking advantage of it. Yeah, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that's exactly. I think that's where you were going there, George C. Yeah, there you go, George. Royal family in case of point. Yeah, they're another one. You give people absolute power. They can't do anything but. I mean, look at. They can't do anything but abuse the power, which is why we had to take a lot of the power away from the royal family. I say we. We're talking a lot of years ago. They can no longer do what they like. They can no longer have the power of life and death over you, and like they used to. Yeah, I mean, you look at all these stories that are coming out about Prince. What's his name? Prince Philip. Him and that other him and that pedo guy that died in prison. He allegedly strangled himself. What's his name? I can't remember. Think of his name now. He had that that pedo islands and all that lot. Yeah, they the royal family were mixed up with him. At least some of them were. Mark, please check out Europa. Shit. Lee Bartlett, who's your favorite YouTuber? Actually, I like Louder with Crowder. He's got two channels, Louder with Crowder and then Crowder Bits, where it's like little snippets of his show. I like that. I like, I can't remember his name. He's a Jew, and I can't think of his name. He does. He used to be on the show The Wire. Can't think of his name. Shit. I like watching him. He's got a lot of good points. The Opie and remember the Opie and Anthony show? They used to have a radio show in America, the Shock Jocks. Well, they had to separate because Anthony got fired for he got attacked by some lunatic black woman. And of course, it was his fault, so he got fired for it. He's got his own podcast called Pod. Tell you what, Compound Media. He's got his own, what they call that live chat webcam thing. He's got his own studio. Yeah, it's really good because he's got those, a bit like they do in the news. You can have that thing in the back. Yeah, what if I could get that? You can have like anything you want: buildings, cityscapes, palm trees. You just have it in, like projected on the back there. Thank English Heart. Thank you. Epstein got got Hillaried. Yeah, Epstein. Yeah, he kind of like sort of a murder suicide. But yeah, I mean, he had to have had some help. Strontium dog. Yeah, you mean Andrew? Yeah, yeah, Andrew. Not yeah. I said Philip, didn't I? Not Philip. Andrew. Yeah, I mean, banging 14-year-olds 3 at a time back in the day. And now it's sort of catching up to him. Yeah, because when you've got immunity from anything, when you've got you can do what you like. You got untold money, privilege, power, and bodyguards to keep everybody else from seeing you. You can pretty much do what you like. I mean, you look at if you look at the Roman Caesar Caligula, you watch any documentaries on him. There's a perfect example about how absolute power corrupts absolutely. I mean, they made a bunch of movies on him and all that lot, but the documentaries made him out to be an absolute demon. I mean, the guy was like barely a teenager. He was like very he's a very young guy, but he had absolute power. And that's it. Life and death. And he'd be all kinds of all crazy shit he used to be pulling. English Art, Epstein, Hillary, Ben Shapiro. Thank you, Funky Spectrum. How did you get Ben Shapiro from what I was? Oh man, that's really good detective work. Ben Shapiro. I like watching him. He makes a lot of sense. Basil Fawlty. Thank you, Ben Shapiro. Yeah, couldn't think of his name. It's getting late and I need to eat. That's why I can't think straight. Funky Spectrum. Yeah, you all got it there. Yeah, that was a good. A Jew, a Jew that talks, on his own channel on the White. Yeah, Ben Shapiro. He should be a detective. Yeah. Let's see. I'll teach you. Bring back Obama. Well, apparently he wasn't such a great guy either. He was sending people off to Guantanamo Bay. That's the one thing where the Americans are full of shit. I'm sure there's many reasons, but one in particular is like they go, no, we don't mistreat, we don't torture prisoners and all that. But what we'll do, we'll put them on a plane, send them off to Guantanamo Bay. They'll do it. Yeah, that's how they keep their hands clean. But they do that. No, not us. We don't do it. George C. George C. has to head off now. Cheers, Mark, for the chat. Oh, thank you very much for joining, George C. George C. is one of the moderators. Hasn't had to do too much today, I don't think. Everybody's been behaving themselves, which is unusual. And thank you for joining us, George C. Actually, I'm going to go as well. I've got to eat. I've got to put something on. I'll be going for. Actually, you won't see, but in the corner of my clock here, and it says I've been going 2 hours, 18 minutes, 25, 26, 27, 28 seconds. I've got a bunch of people. What's a shame, actually. Because I want to go. I want to go eat and have a lay down. So anyway, so we covered a few points there. It's good having a live stream. Although we're not as free being live streamers or YouTubers or YouTube content providers, as they call us. We're not as free as what we used to be. There was a point where this platform was a godsend, where we could say what we like. And but me, I mean, I'm fairly unfiltered. I tell it, which I'm glad that people, a lot of people seem to appreciate the fact that I don't like to sugarcoat stuff. I'll say George Floyd, I'm glad he's dead. I'll say that kitty sniffer Biden. Not that he should be shot. I'm just saying that I'm surprised that he hasn't been shot. I like to share my thoughts. I like to share my opinions, and it's good having a platform, and I'm glad people like to stick around. So not everybody agrees with it. Sometimes you get some comments that people don't agree, but that's what it's all about. But a majority do, and I'm glad to glad people find what I'm saying interesting and entertaining, or Strontium Dog loves the streams. Keep it up, Mark. Thank you very much. Basil Faulty. Oh, he's talking about people talking amongst themselves. Dave says creepy Uncle Joe. Indeed. I tell you what, well, the thing is, I can't believe, again, this guy got, elected president. But the guy used to sniff children on camera. You think I'm full of shit? Everybody out there, just type in Joe Biden sniffing Joy, Biden, sniffy Biden. He'd be on stage talking away. This is way before he was president. He'd be talking a lot. You could see, oh man, he was cringy, because what he would do, he would have a young girl, teenage 13-year-old, standing in front of him for the camera shot. It'll be, sniffing the hair. You could actually see when he would go in for a hug or a kiss of this fucking 13-year-old girl, you could see the creepy, how they were creeped out. No, I don't want to, they're trying to get away. He'd be sniffing other blokes' wife's hair, as he goes in for put their arm around them for a photo shoot. He'd be sniffing, wives, sniffing girls, children's hair. The guy was a fucking creep, and he got people noticed this because it'd be commented on channels, and he got elected. People thought he was fucking great. Well, that's the thing. Well, at least he's not Trump. At least that's what they'd be saying. I tell you what, though, they would vote anybody in other than Trump, and they didn't know a good thing when they had it. I reckon half the people who did vote for Biden, which is probably a fraction of the people who allegedly voted for Biden. I'm sure they've got buyer's remorse. They'll be thinking, oh shit, come back, Trump, all is forgiven. Dave, 81 million votes. My ass. Indeed. Yeah, because they were putting the same thing through 30. Every vote that came through, they were putting them through the machine 24 times. They were letting people vote without proof of who they were. Letting people vote without having proof of where they lived. You got people coming from other states. You've got ballot papers going out to people's dogs, because of course every dog has got a vote. Every dog has got a name. So of course you take down, I don't know where they got these things from. You're probably getting them from the vets. It's like, because your dog's got a name. Think, okay, the dog, match the name up with an address of the owner. Yeah, but it was a case of sometimes children were getting voting slips to fill out. Dogs were getting them. Dead people. This is actually a thing that they actually found out. They found out that dead people were actually voting. And that is some mean feat. Let me tell you. Okay, what are you having for tea? I don't know. I'm gonna have to dive in the freezer. I might have some of those, those fish, some English hearts. What am I having? Some pieces of fish in batter. Can't be bothered. I've got to do some more cookery videos. But what I've been doing, because we've been short staffed at work. It was a couple of guys got fired. Another guy left. They can't get people in. Apparently, everybody's working down at John Lewis and what do they call that, the Amazon and all that fucking lot. They can't get the staff, so I've been doing extra hours, which I should be doing 10 till 3, but I've been staying on, to cover, because I'm a team player, I'll sort of do these things, and I don't really need the money as such because I've paid off the mortgage, I'm ahead on everything, I've got some saved, it's just the fact that I want to help out and. But the trouble is, it means I'm doing extra hours. So I mean, but I'll try and get back to the cookery videos. If anybody wants me to do some more filming on the allotment, it'll be more of the same shit. Be filming what I've been planting, filming the chickens scratching around. But if anybody's interested in that, then go on to some of the. But my, on the playlist, my allotment. Go on to some of those videos. Say, can we have more chicken videos? Can we watch them eating? Can we, and I'll do some more. Anyway, right. I tell you what. Look, it's coming up on 2.5 hours. Thank you to everybody for chipping in with your comments. You've got a few seconds now to hit the thumbs up. It's on. See if we can get that up a little bit higher. And thank you, everybody. Let's see. Strontium Dog, Basil Faulty, Dave, Lee Bartlett, Strontium Dog again, English Heart. Macintosh Vlogs, Views and Reviews. You need to cook again. Thank you. Yeah, I do. I need to get back in the cookery video making business again. Dave asks, do your chickens make a lot of noise? My wife is thinking of getting some, but not sure the neighbors would be too happy. Well, no, what you don't want is a cockerel because they will make a racket. And also, you don't want a cockerel because you probably won't want any more chicks. But if you do, all you need is you have to get at least a pair. All right, because they are social animals. You don't get one on its own because it'll be miserable as hell. Get at least a pair. Go onto the allotments videos. Look at my setup. My setup is well extravagant. Okay, if you're putting them in the backyard, you probably won't need anything near as that. But you can look at mine and get an example of what take my setup as an example and scale it down to your needs. Just get a pair, get a couple of hens, a couple of female ones. They'll be churning out eggs. They will make some noise. What mine do when they go into the roosting box, they make all kinds of fucking racket. When they're trying to squeeze out an egg. I don't think they're in any discomfort. It's just that they just make noise, and they make different noises. They don't often make a racket. They just make different noises of when they're pleased or if you're to communicate to each other. Yeah, ready, steady, cluck, chicken videos. All right, thank you very much. I'm going to leave it there. You've got a couple of seconds to hit the thumbs up, and thank you everybody for watching and chipping in. And it's been fun. It's been good to air my grievances with everything from Biden to George Floyd to the bullshit at work and everything else. It's been great. Thank you very much. And by all means, when you're done here, click onto my videos. There'll be lots of cookery ones, and there's plenty to watch. I've got over 1,000 videos. They range from cookery, not all cookery. There's been some, a bunch of live streams. There's been some DVD reviews, booze reviews, but over 1,000. Okay. Right. Thank you, everybody. And I'll leave it there. And good night to you all.